I think JD and I would really like to take on Phil and Grant in the GD2 series. JD's actually got a call, I think, in the next couple of days with Brian Bros. They're going to set something up for Augusta. I just thought we had a really great mix of super high quality golf, super high quality banter, and a backyard that is the most exclusive. I call it the most exclusive course in the US because no one can get on it. Our group chat's been called Lads. So we had like Lads, and we had Lads 2.0, 3.0, Lads 4.0.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Scratch Golf Show. Hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day. You see me here decked out in all green for my Michigan State Spartans, but we're here to talk about my awesome guest. We have professional golfer and content creator for the Lads, Ryan Ruffels. Now, Ryan started playing on the PGA Tour professionally at the age of 17. He's had a super interesting career in golf. He's most recently started a YouTube channel called The Lads with Jason Day and some other professional golfers from Australia. These guys are going to take over the space. In fact, Ryan teases a couple collabs that they have coming up, Good, the Brian Bros, just your standard names in the YouTube golf space. Now, Ryan talks a lot about the content that they shoot. They play at Jason Day's backyard called The Barn. It's a golf sicko's paradise. I hope you guys enjoy the interview with Ryan today. If you're new here to the channel, welcome to the Scratch Golf Show. My name is Marco. We mainly focus on interviews with the top creators in the YouTube golf space and all over the professional golf world. If you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the start of the Masters in April. Like the video, leave a comment, and enjoy the interview with Ruff today. Forgot to add, Ruff also talks about how invested J-Day is in the YouTube channel and the Lads, how he wants to go over every edit, film on every off week, and since Jason Day's been my favorite player since I was in high school, super cool to see him in the YouTube scene. Now, let's get into the interview with Ruff, and once again, don't forget to subscribe. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have another awesome interview lined up here for the Scratch Golf Show. We have 1/5 of the hottest golf channel on YouTube right now, solo creator Ryan Ruffels of the Lads. Ryan, welcome to the Scratch Golf Show, man. Really appreciate you having you on this morning. Excited to have a conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, man. Thanks for the introduction. Hottest golf group in the world right now. I never thought I'd hear that, but that's cool, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. And it's we'll have a fun conversation today.
Yeah, man, I love what you guys are doing. It's super cool. I think you guys have only posted like 3 or 4 videos, but you got 30,000 plus subs. You just did a collab with Good, which I know most of us in the golf. I refer to myself as an influencer. I'm not really an influencer. It's a joke. I consider myself a King Plus influencer, but most of us influencers would love to collab with Good. And I've had a few of those guys on and plan on getting a couple more on soon. So excited to hear about that. But yeah, man, I love what you guys are doing with the Lads. I guess for those who don't know you, Ryan, do you mind just doing a brief intro of yourself, how you got into golf content space, and then we'll see where the conversation takes us from there.
Yeah, man. So I turned pro in 2016. I was a good amateur and turned pro, and I played my invites on the PGA Tour. I played, I think, 21 or 22 PGA Tour events at this point, and had a bit of success. I mean, given my age, I turned pro when I was 17, and I made 5 or 7 cuts my first year as a 17-year-old, which at the time, being like a self-critic, I was not very happy with. But looking back on it now, it's like that was probably pretty impressive for someone my age. Right. And so kind of moved through things. I was playing on the Corn Ferry Tour. I got injured in 2020, end of 2022. They don't really do medicals out on the Corn Ferry Tour. So unfortunately, I lost my card basically due to inactivity and not being able to play due to injury. Then when I got healthy, I was able to play on Challenge Tour a little bit across 2023. Didn't play enough events, so it was just kind of playing off invites. So 2024 was kind of an interesting one for me. I didn't really know what to do. My first year without status somewhere. And I've always done a little bit of Instagram and things like that. I've been active on social media, but never in the YouTube space. I did a video with Rick Shields in 2023. Like just out of the blue, I was practicing at my home course. He was filming a video at my home course that day. He needed someone else. I hopped in and we made a great video. One of his better videos on his channel. It did a couple million views and did really well. And I really enjoyed it that day. I was like, wow, this is quite fun. And I sent out some questions about YouTube and that sort of thing. And I was like, well, I mean, no knock on Rick. I was like, if Rick can do it, surely I can do it. A bit naive with me. Rick's the GOAT. He's been out of 13 years doing YouTube. And so I was like, let's try it at least. So I brought a camera crew over with me to Europe on the Challenge Tour. and documented a few of my first tournaments over there. And that was kind of the start to me posting YouTube videos. Eventually, when I got back to the US, was here a little bit more. I started doing some matches, collaborated with like Luke Kwan, collaborated with Buster Jack, a few of the more well-known people. Yeah, with Mac, a few of the more well-known people in the States. Started to really enjoy it. I just really enjoyed being able to travel to places, play cool courses, basically do what I would normally do, like play with my friends, talk shit, play high quality golf.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's put it on camera. And so I started doing it. And I had a bit of success on my own. I've got about 33,000 subs and kind of just gradually growing that channel. Then JD's been a friend of mine for a real long time. And I think he started to notice maybe what I was doing a little bit. And he watches YouTube golf as well. So he started asking a lot of questions. And as he started to ask a lot of questions, I was like, he seems like he's starting to get interested in this a little bit. And eventually I asked him to do a match with me for my channel, to which he said yes. And then a couple of days later, he reached back out to me and was like, what if we do something? What if we do a channel? What if we do one like kind of all the boys together? And I was like, dude, that's even better. Let's do it. So at the end of last year, we kind of started to work on it. Started to put the pieces in place that needed, because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just as easy as grab your iPhone out and film and go from there. There's a little bit more kind of infrastructure that goes on around it. So we started to put things in place, filmed a few videos, had a lot of fun doing it. First couple did really well, so we just kept doing it. And now JD is an influencer.
Love to hear it, man. Well, like so many cool stories, man. Like where I want to start, first off, it's really cool how you transition from kind of that professional into the content space. I feel like for you, kind of going through that grind when golf wasn't where it is now, right? Like, you know, the injection of live and the signature events, like golf's in a professional golf that, you know, monetarily is in a really good spot now, even for the Corn Ferry Tour versus where it was 10 years ago. But I feel like for you, and I'm sure you collaborating with Quan, you've seen like a lot of YouTube golf, which makes it easier to watch, is good golf. Like, so a lot of the guys, like even like, you know, I had Sean Walsh on a few weeks ago and him also kind of going the Quan route, and obviously, obviously in good, being very good at golf and like the pros, or even like a Ben Haddon, and showing that side of that world of golf and making it, like I said, being good, but without having the stress of competing for like a Corn Ferry card has got to be really cool. And I guess really cool that you've opened that avenue now with the group channel. Where I want to start, man, a couple questions. I was doing my research, obviously, and I noticed that you did turn pro and you did make your debut at 17 at one of like a signature, like not a very big event at the time, the Farmers Insurance. Talk me through, I guess, that year as a 17-year-old. For those who don't know, I believe you played on a few sponsors exemptions, and like you mentioned, you had a pretty good run as an amateur. Or I'm sorry, like that year as like turning pro. So walk me through what that was like as a 17-year-old playing on the PGA Tour and what that life was like. And then we'll get into some of the content stuff.
Yeah. I turned pro at 17. I believe at 17, I got to third in the World Amateur Golf Rankings. And I was kind of, I was up there as an amateur. I haven't certainly done everything I needed to do as an amateur by any means, but I felt like I had more motivation to do things professionally than I did as an amateur. I had a lot of great opportunities from a sponsor exemption point of view, from an endorsement point of view. I just had a really good runway to be able to start my professional golf career at that time. So I never viewed myself as 17. Like I'd always been the youngest doing different things. I'd been younger than my peers and doing different things. So I never really viewed it as me being 17 and I'm out on a PGA Tour and that's super impressive or anything like that. I just wanted to compete. And I think that's when I look back at it, I played those 7 events that year. I made 5 of my 7 cuts. I had, I believe, a couple top 25s and then a few finishes kind of in the 30-ish place. But played some big events, played Memorial, played Bay Hill, played Farmers Insurance Open, played Hilton Head. So some really good events where I had those results. And my biggest kind of drawback from that is I really beat myself up over the way that I played. Being a competitor, wanting to get my card immediately. I kind of looked back on those 7 events and thought they were a failure to me. And I very, very nearly, at the time, they had the Corn Ferry Tour playoffs where there was, if you finished the top 200 of the FedEx Cup, you got into those kind of free events. I missed out on that by 0.2 FedEx Cup points. And so that really kind of changed the trajectory of things in that year. So it put me in a little bit different spot. But I think, like, just recapping that first year, I played way better than I gave myself credit for. And because of that, I kind of probably dipped into my own confidence a little bit, like talking down on myself for different parts of the game or things of that nature. Where if I were to go back and do it now, I'd approach it very, very differently.
Yeah.
Mixed with just a little bit of bad fortune. And because of that, I had to find different avenues, and I went and played Latin for a couple of years before I got my Corn Ferry card and things like that. So,
Grind, man. Yeah, man, that's a grind, dude. Like, you know, for people who don't know, we've had, you know, I interviewed some of the caddies, which, you know, ironically enough, which is also really cool that Jason Day, or, you know, Luke Reardon is Jason Day's caddies and the lads, but we've had some of the caddies on, and a lot of them have been, you know, guys who have come up through the Corn Ferry Tour, like a Denny McCarthy's caddy or Andrew Novak's caddy, and a few other guys. And like, dude, that Corn Ferry Tour, like, life was not fun, like, way back then. Like, the money was not great, and like, it is a true grind going through all that. Like, just professional golf was not what it was back then versus it is now. So respect to you for grinding it out, man. Like, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. It's led you to kind of where you are now. So it's super cool. So a question I have, and I try to ask this for anyone who comes on who's kind of played professional golf. Do you consider yourself, now that you've done content more, like a full-time content creator, or like full-time content or full-time pro who does content creator on the side?
Still, for me, it's full-time pro who does content creation on the side. My goal still, I still practice, and it's funny, I get this question all the time. People are like, "Well, you still play professional golf?" I play a bunch of tournaments still. I just post about the content that I create. I prefer to kind of go about my professional golf career by itself, kind of work in the background a little bit. I practice as hard as anyone and do all the things that I need to do to be a professional golfer. But I just choose to go about that in the background a little bit more and let the content kind of go out there. I'm making stuff for people that people want to watch. And in my own time, I'm kind of using my time to go practice and things like that. And that's why I started the YouTube channel to begin with. I would say professional golf's expensive. If I could create an avenue here of income, still playing golf, that would fund my professional golf career. I thought that could be super helpful. And that's why I started it. So yeah, still for me, the ultimate goal is to be on the PGA Tour and to win on the PGA Tour and things like that. I surround myself with Jason and with his team and things like that. So I'm always trying to put myself in a situation that betters me as a golfer. And hey, look, if it works out, doesn't work out, I'm okay. But I really want to, and I really want to give it a good crack. And in the meantime, I'm going to make some fun content. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And
for sure.
I don't think there's any reason I can't do both.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Good to hear. We've had some different answers. You know, Sean has kind of gone the route of going full-time content creation. You know, obviously him being in good has opened up doors and avenues for him that, you know, he probably couldn't have imagined 2 years ago. And his process is a little different. So I'm curious for you, like, do you view the process of creating because I assume, you know, for you, you're a golfer. I played to a scratch plus one-ish. So I'm extremely competitive growing up an athlete. Like, so I assume for you, like, you're extremely competitive even when it comes to the content. So do you find the process of creating content, like, do you approach it similar to like you would like competing in a professional tournament? And by like, not like a practice standards, but more just like an ideation, like, do you grind that hard on the content side? And how is your process approaching like creating a YouTube video, whether it be for the lads or your solo channel, versus approaching like getting ready for a professional event?
Yeah, man, it is a grind. I like to pride myself on being a very hard worker. So I'm kind of the one fronting the lads. I'm kind of the one in charge of all of that and putting the infrastructure in, organizing the dates and the travel and the camera crew and the editing. And so, yeah, I mean, I approach the content as seriously as I approach my professional golf in terms of preparation and all that sort of stuff. I watch every edit that comes through. I watch every revision. I have a ton of input. I mean, we all do. And don't get me wrong, Jade is crazy how hard he works when it comes to the content as well. When I started this, I was like, dude, you stay in the background. We'll get it done. I'll send you a final draft. He's like, no, I want to watch everything. I want to watch everything. So yeah, I mean, it's tons of work. It's tons of work, especially doing a channel with someone like Jason. I want to make sure that everything comes out to a standard that meets his standards for professionalism. And man, it takes a lot of hours. It takes a lot of hours in front of a computer screen, which is different for me. I'm used to those hours being spent outside and in the sun or in the gym or something like that. So it gives me something to do, but there's a lot of downtime as a professional golfer too. You can only practice so many hours. You can only train so many hours. Like it gives you, when you get home, something else to work on, which I enjoy.
Yeah, man. First of all, that's awesome that you do all the. That was going to be a question I had, and when we talk about, we can go more in depth about the lads, but like that's awesome that you do all the scheduling and coordinating, and that's not easy for a channel with 2 people, let alone 5 people, and for someone with a full-time PGA Tour schedule, and for, like I said, Luke, Jason's caddy, is also part of the lads, so that's another person who's traveling and basically shadowing Jason. So props to you for getting all that schedule, man. And you guys have some like top tier editing. Like I was, I've seen obviously a couple of your videos. I was watching the course record one last night, at Jason's barn, which is, that place is like a playground for most of us, but like your editing is top tier, man. Like it's cool to hear that you're like in depth, like doing all that stuff, because a lot, like I always tell this to people, like it doesn't just like, first of all, YouTube is not an overnight thing. Like you don't just go overnight and like learn all this stuff. So for you, like investing all that time and like getting the quality to where it is super impressive, because like I said, you guys have some really cool editing, the colors, like the detailed stuff. It doesn't go unnoticed. So I just want you to know that from someone who spends time.
I'm glad to hear it, because that's something we do spend time on. So it's good to hear that comes across in the product as well.
Oh, it for sure does, man. So let's talk a little bit about your solo channel. I know you mentioned you've done some different things with it. I want to focus on some of the content that you've posted recently with some like the Sandbelt Tiers, I think is what you call it. You've played some stuff with in Australia. I know you did some stuff with Mac. I know you just dropped a video, I think, with is it Michael Pena? Is that his name?
Yeah, Michael Pena. Yep.
Yeah. So you've done some cool stuff with the solo channel. So talk to me a little bit about like some of your recent content on the solo channel and kind of what your plans are with that for this year.
Yeah. So the solo channel, it's been a little flat for me in the last few months, just because I've been working so hard to get this lads channel off the ground. So it's been very hard to manage 2 channels in a professional golf career.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been doing my best. We filmed in Australia at the start of the year, and that's where I'm from, on the Sandbelt. Yeah. So it's a series that is really passionate. I'm really passionate about because it's courses that I grew up on. It's just been a little tricky because I haven't been able to release as consistently as I normally would. I've just been busy with other things, and I'm kind of filtering those videos out as we go, as quick as I can. But if you haven't checked it out, I think it is a fantastic series. It's one, like I said, that means a lot to me. There's some amazing courses. And I think towards the end of this year as well, we'll probably go back there as a group and do it again. Oh, yeah. But I love being able to showcase any little bits of my story. That's kind of the reason that we started in the first place, and showing somewhere like the Melbourne Sandbelt. That's really important to me. Having guests on like Mac, who's super cool, who's become a really good friend over the last couple of years. Michael Pena is awesome. We've been friends for a while as well. And then a few of my buddies that'll appear in some kind of later videos. A few of my buddies I grew up with on the Sandbelt, and they're chasing all dreams as well on the Asian Tour and Aussie Tour and DP World Tour. But it's just cool to introduce those people to a different audience. And even for me, when I film with them, very different scenario to I would normally see them. So it's cool for them to ask questions and that sort of thing as well. Yeah, I've been lucky on the solo channel. I've had some great collaborations in the past. I've done some great things with Rick Shields and Luke Kwan, Buster Jack, and I'm sure I'm missing some. Nelly Porter hopped on.
That's sick.
So there's been some cool stuff, and I plan on, once this lads thing is running itself a little bit more, to really get back into producing some great videos for my channel, because I think the better my channel does, the better the lads does, and vice versa. So it's not something that I certainly want to let fall by the wayside at all.
No, for sure, man. Like I can attest to it. Obviously I do everything myself, like editing, and I don't want to compare myself to like your solo channel, because I know producing golf videos is not nearly the same as producing like video podcasts. But like, dude, I can attest to how much work it is just running running one channel, like you said, let alone running 2. And then on top of that, still trying to maintain your golf game while, going that pro route and still trying to maintain on top of your game, get a consistent practice schedule. And so props to you guys. We'll link Ryan's solo solo channel, and all his solos in the description. Make sure you drop him a sub. Check out his content. He does some really cool stuff with that. And like you said, he's going to release some cool stuff in Australia this year, which I love. Aussie golf. I think it's some of the most underrated golf, and it's cool to see more people doing YouTube stuff right there. Quick question: are you full? So like, how does your schedule work? Like, how often do you get back to Australia? Are you full time in the States now that you're like doing the like channel? Like, I guess how does that work from your end? Are you just kind of traveling as the pro circuit, or?
Yeah, I've been full time in the States for the last 8 years.
Okay.
I lived in Orlando for 8 years, or better part of 7 years. As soon as I turned pro, basically, long story short, I was born in the US. I have a US passport.
Okay.
So I've never had to deal with visa issues or anything like
Nice.
that. But yeah, I've been here for a while. I'm now in California. My girlfriend's here. My family's here.
Nice.
So I'm kind of set up in California at the moment. I'd love to get back to Florida at some point, but it's pretty hard 2 years into a relationship to be like, see, I'm going to the East Coast now.
I feel that.
So yeah, I think I'm here for a little while, but yeah, I'm based in the US. I'm going to spend a big chunk of this summer in Ohio. We obviously, as you saw those videos at Jason's backyard, we're going to film a bunch of stuff there. So I'm going to spend quite a few weeks, potentially months there this year, just as we crank out some stuff. But yeah, I mean, as a golfer, as a content creator, it doesn't matter. You're kind of a bit of a floater. You always, you're here and there and everywhere. Yeah. So, I call California my home base now. I try and get back to Australia at least once a year.
Nice.
But I'm definitely traveling 30 plus weeks a year. So nowhere's really home.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man. You see Mac, like I feel like Mac's always living out of a freaking suitcase.
He's worse than me.
That dude's constantly on the move, man. Well, I meant to ask, have you ever played Michigan? Have you ever got to Michigan to play either a pro tournament or any golf at all?
No, I haven't actually. I played right on the other side, Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah.
But never got across to Michigan. My graphic designer or my motion graphics guy is from Michigan.
Nice.
So, but I've never just myself. I've got a couple of small connections, but yeah, never been out one myself.
Well, good for you, man. I'm glad we met because I do this with all my YouTubers I have on. Like, I'm looking to grow my channel a little bit. So I know you're a pro and I'm probably going to get my ass kicked, but I've done it with every creator, every caddy who's a good player. I'll, issue a challenge if we ever link up in person. I'd love to challenge you to a match, man. I want to get more into the playing stuff as, it unthaws here in Michigan. Unfortunately, it's really nice the last week, but I'd love to challenge you to a match, man. Like I said, I played with +1. Even if I get my ass kicked. Hell yeah, dude. I know you guys, if you ever, I know, because I think J-Day is in Columbus, which is where the barn is. If we can ever link up, I think I'm going to go to the Memorial. So anyway, man, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about the lads, man. Where I want to start is, you mentioned you've known Jason Day for a long time. And I know I've told you he's been my favorite golfer for a long time. So this is super cool to kind of take a deeper dive down this route. But how did you, I guess, get linked up? And what is your relationship with him like off the golf course and like kind of away from the content scene?
So I turned pro in 2016. We signed with the same management. And we were meant to play a practice round at Torrey Pines to meet each other. He got sick that week and he withdrew from the event. Funnily enough, it happened this week too.
Yeah, literally, right.
But at Pebble Beach, we ended up playing a practice round together the week after. And so I met him there. We were cordial and all that sort of stuff. We were friendly, like nothing wrong, but we're competitors. And we kind of, we'd see each other often. We'd play practice rounds and we were solid mates. Like when I played Memorial that year, he invited me over to his house. We hung out a little bit at his house. I think I got there early. I got there maybe the Saturday before and we spent a day at Mutual Village together practicing. So we definitely had a little bit of a friendship there and we kept in touch here and there over the next couple of years. And it wasn't until 2019, 2020 that Ricka, who's one of the lads, or Bat as we call him in the lads, he was chatting, him and Luke Reardon had a agreement with Jay that they would carry 2 weeks each and they went back and forth.
Okay.
And it was getting to the point where Jay was just going to settle on Luke. And so I asked Jason, I was like, hey, I'm playing Corn Ferry 2 now. The caddy, can I take Ricka? And so he was like, yeah, of course, no, all good. So Ricka caddied for me for a couple of years.
Okay.
I became obviously very close to Ricka, traveling and that sort of stuff. We all started a bit of a group chat together and we started chatting in the group chat all the time. And just gradually we became really good friends, all of us as a group. I'd go to Columbus, we'd practice. They'd come to Palm Springs in January, February when it was cold in Columbus, and they'd practice here. I have a base here in Palm Springs, so we grind a lot there. And just especially over the last couple of years, we've become really, really good friends. He's always helping me with my game. We're doing different things. And like I said, towards the end of last year, he started to take notice of the YouTube golf space a little bit more, what I was doing in the space, asking some questions as we were hanging out. And it led to us starting a YouTube channel together. But yeah, it's a relationship away from golf. Yeah, at this point, we're all pretty much best friends. We're talk every day. We talk all day, every day through the group chat. And now we're in business together, so we talk even more. So
that's awesome, man. That's so cool. Was he kind of like play almost like a mentorship role to you when you were younger in the pro scene, and like kind of, I guess, like early on in the relationship? Was he kind of very helpful to you and mentoring you in that scene?
Very much so. Because when I turned pro too, that was when he was really flying. I turned pro at the start of 2016. He was number one in the world at the time, and he won the Players that year in 2016. He'd come off the FedEx Cup playoffs at the end of the year before, where he won 3 in a row, won 5 times that season or something. So I was really at the peak of his powers there, and I think he'll get back to pretty close to that level. But for where he's been at in his career, that was probably the top. So for me to look up to him, I was only 17, like you said, it's so kid. So he was an idol of mine.
For sure.
He's 11 years older than me, I believe. So yeah, I've always looked up to him. I've always aspired to do the things that he wanted to do when I was living in Australia and when I met him. To be able to hang out, spend a lot of time with him, learn a lot from him, play practice rounds, hear how he goes about things. Yeah, definitely a mentor. And he went out of his way to make me feel comfortable, try and make my game better when way that he could. So he's always been super generous with his time for me. And it just so happens that we've ended up as friends, but definitely a mentor to begin with.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like I said, he's been my dude. Like I said, I was in high school in like 2012. I graduated 2012 high school, and so when he was going on that run, man, like I said, I know I told you offline, but he was my favorite player growing up. Still is, one of my favorite players to watch. I just think his swing is so pure, and when he's rolling it, man, like in 2015 when he was winning everything, that putter was just magical. So seeing him now in the YouTube space, which is where I spend a good amount of my time, I obviously inject a lot of my time into golf. Like golf is my favorite thing to do. I play a lot. I invest a lot of time into YouTube professionally. But now, as we've gotten into the content space, I consume a lot of my content through YouTube. Like, yes, I watch the PGA Tour and stuff like that, but not nearly as much as I used to, at least more in depth. But so seeing the evolution of the pro come to the YouTube side, like Bryce and Phil, and now we're seeing the PGA Tour guys like J-Day come through, man. It's super cool, and I love the content. So let's talk a little bit about your guys' group channel, The Lads. So for those who don't know, you started a group channel with, I think, 5 other people or 4 other people?
4 other people, 5 total.
All played professionally. Jay included his caddy and other people who played professionally. So I guess talk to me, whose idea, I know you mentioned you managed, but was it your idea where you're just like, let's start a YouTube channel? I guess, how did that work, and how did the channel come to be?
Yeah, so I'll go 50-50 credit with Jay on that one. I kind of approached him about having a map for my channel, to which he agreed to. But he kind of thought of the idea a couple months prior, like, it'd be fun to do stuff all together, or we could do something in the bunker. We'd be having a really good discussion around like mechanics or around golf in a bunker. And he'd be like, dude, we need a camera on this.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. This stuff is really, it's gold. And so we there was little comments and this and that. And it was about, I'm going to say September, October last year. I was at his barn. He was at his house, which is just like in the same property just down. Yeah. And we were texting about it. And it's coming to Q school, I think, for me. So it must have been October. And he was like, we'll chat about this after Q school, but I really like it. I think it's a good idea. And I was like, yeah, me too. So we kind of left it, played Q school. And then after Q school, we're like, we do this. And everyone was on board. More than I thought. I thought there'd be a few people to be hard to convince. I knew that was going to want to do it all the time. He's hilarious, and he's got a personality built for YouTube. But JD, I didn't know how much he would want to do. Brucey, Luke Reardon, I didn't know how much he would want to do. Jay initially wasn't really a part of it, and then we included him just a couple of weeks later. and didn't really know what he was at. But yeah, we just kind of formed an idea. But how Jason and I really are is we don't sit on things very often. If we have a good idea, we try and act on it, and we'll learn as we go a little bit. So we got things started. We filmed those videos before it got too cold in Columbus at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Got those a test run, got those edited. We're like, wow, this come across really well. And yeah, so then we started to have some opportunities, started to tease it a little bit. People were interested. People were shocked that Jay was doing it, which created the interest behind that, which was really good. And some bigger creators started to reach out to us about collaborating. And we obviously did that one collaboration with Good, which helped us pop off a little bit. And we have more lined up in the works. So there'll be a lot of fun stuff coming. And yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Sweet, man. That's awesome. Cool story. Obviously, we'll link the lads got channel also in the description. Make sure you drop them a sub. They, like I said, they make some really cool content. The editing is superb. And if you want to check out a Sicko's Playground for us, like normal golfers, I know J-Day did I think PGA Memes did like a thing a long time ago, a couple years ago. So obviously, and like me being a J-Day Sicko knew about the barn, but like for those who don't know, want to check out just like he's at a full 9-hole par 3 course back there, like a heated driving range. It's just unbelievable the amount of content or the sweet setup that he has there in Columbus. So the name, how did you guys come up with a name? Like, was that like naturally? Did you guys have different iterations and you just settled on it? Was it like the first one? How did that work?
Well, group chat's been called Lads forever.
Okay.
And we kind of had all these different ones because at some point somebody gets a new phone. So we had like Lads, and we had Lads 2.0, 3.0, Lads 4.0. We had all these different group chats, and they're all called Lads. And we always, like, when we greet each other, like, what's up, Lad? Or how you doing? Like, that's just kind of how we talked. And so the group chat was called that. So it was just a natural progression when we were going to do a group together. We're like, oh, we'll just naturally call the Lads, right? And everybody was happy with it. It stuck. I thought there was Jay and I had a pretty similar vision on what we wanted to do with the branding of it. So normally that would be a hard one to come up with. Like, what are we going to call this group? Not be cringe, but not be that sort of thing. But for us, it just came pretty naturally. The group chat was called that, so we're naturally going to call ourselves that.
Sweet. Did you, I guess, when you were thinking about doing it, did you think about or worry about, like, I guess, I don't want to say like a difficult barrier to entry into the market, because obviously you already have your solo channel, but as you know, like the YouTube golf market has exploded really the last 3 or 4 years. You know, everyone's kind of doing it, but you know, it's a very saturated market per se, but obviously you have yourself and Jay's Day and like people like very well known. So I guess, were you worried about like, you know, maybe this might not do well, or I guess did you not care? You're just like, this is a passion project that we're going to try and spin up. If it turns up anything, great.
I probably should have been worried, but I wasn't. I thought it was such a good idea in my head, and working with my friends who were equally as passionate for the idea as I was, it was just like, we got to do this. Everyone's pumped to do it. We had great lineup of personalities and golfers and well-known names and less well-known names. Like, I just thought we had a really great mix of super high quality golf, super high quality banter, and a backyard that is the most exclusive. I call it the most exclusive course in the US because no one can get on it. And so I was like, we have this basic content farm in the backyard where we can just do whatever we want. It just felt too good of an idea, I guess. And so, as I know, YouTube is a slog. It's a grind. There's nothing, I always compare it to Instagram. Like Instagram, you can pop off on a video. So you can just get some random video to go viral and you can pick up 50,000 followers overnight, and kind of things change very quickly. YouTube's not like that. YouTube is you got to put out consistently good content that people want to watch, and your subscriber base grows over time as people realize that you're putting out the good content. So, I mean, I knew, I in the back of my head, I knew YouTube was a grind, but I just never stopped to think about it. I was like, this is a great idea. I want to do it. I think we should do it. I think we'll be successful. And Jace is such a high goal setter that he was just immediately from the jump, like, we want to do this. We want to be the biggest. We want to, I think we can take over this space, or at least be a massive player in this space. And so, I don't know, when people are talking like that, it's positive energy. It's really good vibes, and push ahead, and regardless of what happens.
Sure. I get it, dude. First of all, I agree with you. You guys have a very good mix of personalities. I think I know we talked about this earlier, but like being professional, like people who play pro are very good at golf. Naturally, I feel like YouTube, it's easier to, I want to say, have success just because people want to watch more like competitive golf, just with where the game is. Like you see Luke Kwan, Grant, the Brian Bros, Garrett, whatever. Like all the guys at the top are also very skilled at golf. But like you mentioned, you guys have a very entertaining group of personalities. Like I think the shit talk is something that I think Good tries to do, but like I don't think it comes off as natural. I don't know. Maybe it's just with your guys' channel that you guys are boys, and so like it's just like this is just the shit talk that we do, and now we're recording it, right?
We have this rule, or not a rule, but like an unwritten rule in Australia that if you like someone, you talk shit to them, and if you don't like someone, you're really nice to them, and you're very cordial and that sort of thing. So we all like each other a lot, so we're on each other's throats all the time, and so it comes. Hopefully, it comes across that way. That's exactly what it comes across. Like you said, we all play professional golf, so I think we're in a unique position that we could collaborate with professional golfers from the PGA Tour, and we could have very competitive matches. Without having to make it gimmicky or anything like that.
Right.
Or we can also hop on with YouTube creators, Good or Bob Sports or whoever, and be very banter-full and tons of personality, and be able to make an entertaining video in that regard as well. So I like to think we're in a nice little middle ground when it comes to that.
No, you guys are. I think I agree with JD. I think you guys are going to take over the space. I mean, you guys have already, like I said, you've only posted, I think, 4 or 5 videos. You're already at 35,000 subs. I see you guys getting to 100K. I imagine probably sometime this summer. And just, once you get there, just kind of the channel will take care of itself. You mentioned that you've got some cool collaborations planned. I imagine with J-Day playing on the PGA Tour and you being in the professional scene as well. And I know other people that you guys have some cool collaborations, whether it be PGA Tour players, maybe some Corn Ferry guys. Do you mind teasing, or I guess, can you talk a little bit about some of the content plans you have maybe coming up over the next month or so? I'm going to post this next week, so obviously you can talk about if whatever you can talk about would be really cool from my perspective.
So obviously you did that video with Good. We were shocked how good our chemistry was with Good. It was fantastic. The 5 of them and the 5 of us, it just for whatever reason it paired super well. So I think there's some talks about doing some more videos with them. Nice. They really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed it. So we definitely like to do something there. I know that I think J-Day and I would really like to take on Phil and Grant in the Junior 2 series that they've got going. Let's go. That'd be a lot of fun to do. There's a lot of talks in the works. I know Jay's actually got a call, I think, in the next couple of days with Brian Bros. They're going to set something up with Augusta. So I think he's going to do a 1v1v1 with them, and then we're also going to do a 2v2 with them.
Nice.
So there'll be Brian Bros. Hopefully the Horvat stuff comes across, a little bit more stuff with Good. I haven't talked to Bob Sports at all, but I'd love to do some stuff with them. I've talked to the New Zealand boys about coming over. There's 5 of them and there's 5 of us, so that could be really fun. Pretty unserious that video, I'm sure, but so I'd say we're going to do them all at some point. I think most of our collaborations are going to come this summer once the weather's better in Columbus. I think Jay really wants to get people over to the barn. I think it's very attractive for people to come over because none of them would have filmed there before. I think that's where a lot of them will come. I think Brian Bros will come kind of before the Masters. And everything else from after the Masters. But J-Day wants to film every week that he has off.
Nice.
Every off week, we went over the schedule the other day and he's like, yep, I can film here and I can film here and I can film here. And I was like, that's more than I thought I'd get out of you. We're not going to have any shortage of content. We were meant to go to TPC Sawgrass and film on Tuesday at TPC Sawgrass. Obviously, unfortunately, Jay got sick this week, so we had to put a stall on those plans. But there's going to be some pretty fun stuff coming up, and we eventually want to branch out of just the YouTube space. He obviously is acquaintances with everybody on tour. So I think there's a lot of people that would hop on from a PGA Tour player standpoint as well.
Yeah, man. You guys are going to have no shortage of content. But hey, if you're ever looking for somebody who's like a scratch, who does like a shitty podcast in Michigan, who wants to come pack up the barn, hey, I'm your guy, man. I would love to see you. It's only a 4-hour drive. My wife went to Ohio State. I'd love to come down to Columbus and check that place out.
There you go. All right.
I kid, man. Well, one question I have before we get into some, I guess a couple more questions, but you're wearing Malbon, and obviously Jay Day being a Malbon guy. Is there any one? I want to hear your thoughts on like the whole talk of Malbon with the PGA Tour. But is there any thoughts of like doing like something with them? I imagine there's going to be some involvement with Malbon in the channel at some point, right?
Yes, without saying too much. Yes.
Okay. No, for sure. That's all we need. I don't want to get you in trouble.
It's in the works at the moment. Sorry, we got mom coming through here. So it's in the works at the moment, and that's about as much as I think I could say on that front.
All good.
But we have a lot of merch coming out as well. We got hats. I just got some samples of the other day. There'll be a lot of stuff coming, so stay tuned there. But I think a Melbourne Lads collaboration would be fantastic and received very well.
Dude, I love their stuff, man. I love how Jay Day has kind of fully leaned into the, I don't know what to call it, like the attention it draws. Obviously, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but you being on social media, I'm sure you've seen some of the comments from people. I love it, man. I love when he showed up to Farmers Insurance in the sweatsuit, man. I'm a firm believer that who cares what you wear? The stigma around golf is like you need to be in khakis, and it's like, dude, if I want to roll up in athletic shorts and a really, really cool T-shirt or something like that, if you pulled up with that, you'd beat 100% of the people. So who gives a shit what you wear? I personally love it, the attention it draws. I just want to hear your quick thoughts on, I guess the attention around Malbon and the PGA Tour. I know we just saw Jay Day talk about how I think he had to get approval for what he wanted to wear at the Masters. So I'm excited to see that. But I guess, do you have any comments on just the attention that it draws from the PGA Tour, any of the memes that have come with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, for me, it's brand new as well. I kind of signed with Melbourne a little later today, maybe a few months afterwards. Myself, and I've had a lot of fun wearing it. Jay's obviously closed the store with all the different things that he wears, but dude, it's fun. It's different, and I think
who cares?
It's brilliant marketing from Melbourne, because how do you break into a space that's so saturated, like the kind of the soft goods kind of space? And they kind of were like, well, we got to make noise some way or another, and that's a way of making noise. It's statement clothing.
Exactly.
And, I think it's anytime you do something out of the norm, that's going to split the people. Some people are going to be traditionalists, and some people are going to be more progressive with what they want to see things. I love it. I think it's really cool that I can show up one day playing gym gear, athletic wear, and the next day I'm wearing pleated pants and like some knit polo. Like, I think it's really cool, the diversity. I can drastically change my look based on what I'm feeling like that day. And you can just be creative with how you put things together. I think when I've been with other companies, it's very cookie cutter, and you kind of put your black pants with your polo on, and off you go. Nothing wrong with that. That's for some people. But I really like being able to now look so different all the time. And Jay's obviously taken it into his own a little bit, and he's made himself kind of the fashion guru out there on the PGA Tour.
For sure. We had Willie Wilcox on like way back when. I know he's a Malbon guy. That's cool, man. I personally love it. I think it's really cool. And like you said, no attention is bad attention, I feel like, in the golf space. And how do you enter it? By creating some sort of, disruption, right? For example, like all the people are talking about it. So whatever it is, like people are talking about Jay Day and the stuff he's doing with the product. One quick question before we get into the rapid fires. Your thoughts on the professional golf, being a pro golf, where it is PGA Tour, Live. I don't want to say do you have a side, but I guess what are your thoughts and where do you lean from where the professional golf is, or the professional golf landscape is right now?
Yeah, from what I enjoy watching the PGA Tour much more. Just as a golf purist, I think there's still way more good players on the PGA Tour than are on Live. There are some fantastic players on Live, don't get me wrong. I just think the depth is insane. So from a viewer standpoint, I prefer watching the PGA Tour. I have a lot of buddies that play on Live. I can't blame any professional golfer for going that route at all. That sort of money was thrown at me or you or whatever,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
there's no chance that I could say no to something like that. Now, I don't know if there'll be a solution. I think the two products are so different that I don't know. Just speaking to people behind the scenes and knowing what I know, like I don't know how the two models would interact in a way that doesn't hurt either one. So it'll be interesting to see where that evolves, and it'll be interesting once a lot of these contracts are up on live, where these players decide to continue their professional golf career if they're allowed back on the PGA Tour, if they want to come back to the PGA Tour. I'll be very interested kind of these next couple of years as these contracts come up. But personally, if you gave me one product over the other, I enjoy watching the PGA Tour more. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not enough for me. It's PGA Tour.
That's where I felt too, man. Like I grew up watching golf, PGA Tour. I grew up in the Tiger era, similar to you, right? So naturally, that's where I enjoy that product. The courses, like you don't have a TPC Sawgrass on Live. Like I watch Live. Like you said, I would never fault anyone for taking. Like I said, if someone offered me 4x my salary to go work for a competitor with to work less, it's no fucking brainer. Like who wouldn't take it? I'm never going to fault anyone for looking out for their family. At the end of the day, they're playing professional golf, right? Whatever it is, but like you said, I just enjoy the PGA Tour product. I just think it's just a better product. The golf courses are better. For me, it's like I couldn't watch Live Singapore last night until 2 a.m. So it's like naturally I'm just going to up and watch the players. So, all right, Ryan, let's get into that first.
Which I'll comment on that real quick. I do think in a lot of senses, though, that is a good thing. I think we're so spoiled in the U.S. and think we're the only golf consumers in the world. That when a product doesn't come on at the time that suits us here, we think it's an inferior time zone. But there's a lot of people that watch a lot of golf in Asia,
for sure,
and they're normally the ones receiving the back end of our kind of broadcast times over here. So I do think worldwide golf is a good idea. I do think
I agree.
There's merit to that, but it is hard as a consumer over here. Like pack their season, we won't be able to watch.
Right, and I try, man. Like, I watched Adelaide. Like, dude, I'm a golf sicko, dude. I will wake up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. here Eastern time to watch not only the Open Championship, but I'll wake up the week before and watch the Scottish Open. I'll wake up on the weekends and watch some of the DP World Tour events. I love watching. I used to watch Greg Chalmers back in the Aussie PGA when he beat Tiger in 2011. So I love, I was always a night owl, even in college. Like, I never could fall asleep early. So naturally, I'm just up watching golf. I'm a sicko though, but I know I digress. I think it's great for, obviously we get very consumed here in the United States about, where we are, but not realizing the world doesn't revolve just around one country. Right. So I can completely relate to that. Cool. Well, first of all, thank you for joining me today, Ryan. Let me get into the rapid fires and I'll get you out of here. So like I said, doing these with the pros are always more fun because, you get some crazy answers, but start with this: favorite golf course you've ever played. It doesn't have to be the nicest, because my next question is going to be the most prestigious. So favorite golf course you've ever played.
My favorite golf course that I've ever played is Chicago Golf Club.
Okay, nice, dude. Hell yeah. That's a very underrated. I lived in Chicago for 4 years after college, never got out, but there's extremely underrated part of, Midwest in general, Michigan, that whole area. But Chicago has some really, really cool golf. Chicago Golf Club is really, really sweet. Most prestigious golf course you've ever played or been out at?
Probably Cypress Point.
Nice. That's a good one. How did you? Is it 15? The one that's a par 3 over the wall. That looks like
16.
Yeah.
16. Yeah.
It's like the sickest hole of all time, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's so hard.
Favorite golfer. Favorite professional golfer.
My favorite professional golfer. Probably Rory, or J Day. Without saying J Day, I'm going to say Rory.
Favorite creator, doesn't have to be golf related. Could be anyone in the content space.
My favorite one to hang out with, that I have hung out with, is Luke Kwan. I think filling in the game, Horvat's doing a fantastic job. So he'd be the one to watch. For
sure. Lowest round?
60 at the Big Open a couple of years ago.
God, this is so sick, man. Like, just hearing you got like I said, I play to a scratch, so I can shoot, a couple under, but y'all play a different game, man. 60 is just unbelievable. What's in the bag? What kind of clubs do you play?
I play TaylorMade in bag.
All the way through? Okay.
Yeah, I had a Nike putter, but other than that, it's TaylorMade.
Okay. Favorite piece of content you've ever made or produced? Could be Instagram, could be YouTube, anything,
Ooh,
or TikTok,
that's
whatever.
a good question. I really like the instructional videos that I've been doing with J-Day around short game on Instagram. I think those have been really cool. And then in terms of YouTube, we had tons of technical errors, so not my favorite produced video, but I really enjoyed filming that video nearly quarter for my channel.
Nice. You get one mulligan to use. It could be on camera, off camera, in a tournament. Where would you use it and why?
One mulligan. I would go back to that first year as a pro where I missed those point straight to a playoffs by 0.2 FedEx Cup points. I would use it on some random 3-foot pot that I missed that year.
Okay, fair enough.
Just so I can get in those playoffs and see what happens from there.
Fair enough. How many hole-in-ones do you have? This is always my favorite one because you've got some wild answers.
I have 12 hole-in-ones.
Wow, dude, it's crazy. I have none. I've seen like 7, but like as an amateur, like, dude, it's crazy. Like Willie Wilcox had 20, and like then you get some who like Bryson's only had like 2, and I just always find that answer so interesting. Cool. Well, guys, that's Ryan Ruffels of the Lads, also a solo creator. Ryan, before I sign off, man, first of all, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there any plug whatever you want, your solo channels, anything? I don't have a ton of sponsorships here, so any sign off messages, plug whatever you want, man, and then I'll let you go. Thank you so much, like I said, for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, not too much for me. Ryan Ruffels Golf, if you want to follow my personal channel, and the boys would be mad at me if I didn't say this, so I'm going to go cringe here for a sec. Like and subscribe to the Lads.
There we go, guys. We'll link everything in the description. Like and sub to the Lads, like and sub to my channel. Leave a comment for your favorite part. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Thanks.